Picture this. Two guys meet the same woman at a coffee shop in downtown Chicago. One of them smiles, asks her name, what she does for a living, where she's from. She answers politely, even smiles back, but within seconds she's already checked out. He becomes just another face in the crowd, someone she'll forget before she even finishes her latte. Now the second guy walks in. He doesn't look any richer, any taller, or any more impressive on paper. But when he opens his mouth, he asks one single question. She pauses. Her eyes shift. She takes a breath, like the air in the room just got heavier. The vibe changes instantly. That one question pulls her out of autopilot and makes her lean in, curious. That's the difference. Most men think attraction is about looks, money, or status. Sure, those things can grab attention, but they don't create connection. They don't stick. What actually makes a woman remember you long after the moment is over isn't your car, your job title, or your outfit. It's the way you make her feel. And the fastest way to shift her emotions is through the questions you ask. See, the problem is most questions men ask are boring. They're predictable. What's your name? What do you do? Where are you from? She's answered those questions 1,000 times this month. And when her brain recognizes the same pattern again, it switches to autopilot. She doesn't feel excitement. She doesn't feel chemistry. She feels like she's in another job interview. But here's where the mystery lies. The right question doesn't just collect information. It creates an experience. It pulls her into a moment that feels different from anything she's used to. That's why some guys, without being the tallest, richest, or best looking in the room, still walk away with all the attention. They know how to break her routine. And that's exactly what you're going to learn here. By the end of this video, you'll understand how a single well-crafted question can create immediate attraction. Not because you're trying to impress her with facts, but because you're guiding her into a state of emotion. Think about it this way, women don't fall for a man's resume. They fall for the way he makes them feel when they're around him. When you ask the wrong questions, she forgets you. When you ask the right ones, she remembers you without even trying. So here's my promise to you, stay with me, because in the next few chapters I'm going to reveal the secret rules of asking questions that trigger attraction. I'll break down why most men fail, how you can stand out instantly, and I'll give you practical examples you can use the very next time you're talking to a woman. This isn't about cheesy pickup lines or memorized scripts. It's about shifting the way you connect. Because when you understand the mystery of the right question, you don't just talk to her, you make her feel something she can't ignore. Let's be real for a second. Most men think they're doing everything right when they first talk to a woman. They walk up, smile, and start with the same routine. Hey, what's your name? What do you do? Where are you from? On the surface, it sounds polite, maybe even respectful. But here's the problem, she's already heard those questions 100 times this week. To her, it feels like déjà vu. She could answer them in her sleep. And when her brain recognizes a conversation that follows the same exact script, it shuts down emotionally. There's no spark, no tension, no reason for her to remember you over the next guy who asks the same thing. Why does this happen? Because the human brain is designed to save energy. It predicts patterns and fills in the blanks automatically. When something feels predictable, it creates comfort, but also boredom. And while boredom might be safe in an office meeting, in attraction it's deadly. Comfort doesn't create desire. Surprise does. Think of it like this, imagine watching a movie where you already know every line before the actors say it. No matter how good the actors are, you're not excited, you're not engaged, you're just waiting for it to be over. That's exactly how women feel when every new conversation starts with the same checklist questions. Now contrast that with the power of the unexpected. When you break her routine with a question she doesn't see coming, her emotional brain lights up. She pauses. She thinks. She feels. That pause is gold, because in that moment she's not on autopilot anymore, she's present, with you. Let me give you an example. Instead of asking, "What do you do?" try, "If you didn't have to work for money, how would you spend your time?" See the difference? One digs for basic facts, the other forces her to reflect, to imagine, to feel something deeper. Or take the classic, "Where are you from?" Every guy asks that. Now flip it into something like, "What's a place that changed the way you see life?" Suddenly, she's not just recalling geography, she's tapping into memory, meaning, and emotion. That's how you stand out. Here's the key rule you need to burn into your mind: ordinary questions kill attraction, but disruptive questions create it. The feminine brain responds to novelty, to deviation, to the unexpected. It's not about collecting data, it's about creating an experience she wants to replay in her head. And let me be clear, this doesn't mean you need to be outrageous or weird just for the sake of it. It means you stop recycling the same dead-end small talk and start asking things that pull her into a new state of mind. Because here's the truth most men never realize: women don't remember the answers they gave you. They remember how they felt giving them. If your questions put her on autopilot, she'll forget you. If your questions pull her into curiosity and emotion, she'll feel like she discovered something new, and she'll connect that discovery to you. So if you've ever wondered why conversations die out after 5 minutes, now you know. It's not your looks, it's not your job, and it's not your confidence. It's the script you're running. And if you want to flip the script, it starts by ditching the ordinary questions and learning how to ask the ones she never saw coming. Let's talk about something most guys never understand: the power of disruption. Attraction isn't built on comfort. Comfort is what she feels with her coworkers at lunch or when she's scrolling through the same social media feed every day. Comfort equals routine. And routine equals boredom. If your words feel like part of that same routine, she tunes out. Here's the formula you need to remember: pattern equals comfort equals boredom. Disruption equals excitement equals attraction. The brain is a prediction machine. It's constantly scanning for patterns, trying to save energy. When it knows what's coming next, it relaxes. That's useful for survival, but deadly for attraction. Why? Because attraction is an emotional spike. It's not steady, it's not predictable, it's the opposite. Think about your favorite TV shows. Why do you binge them? Because of the cliffhangers. Because something happens you didn't see coming. That little burst of adrenaline keeps you hooked. Now apply that to conversations. If everything you say feels predictable, there's no adrenaline spike, no emotional engagement. But the moment you disrupt the pattern, her brain wakes up. For example, imagine she says, "I grew up in Texas." The predictable response is, "Oh cool, what part?" That's autopilot. But the disruptive response could be, "So tell me, do you still carry that Texas stubbornness with you everywhere you go?" Now she laughs, pauses, maybe even playfully defends herself. That's disruption. That's attraction. Or let's say she's telling you about her job. Most guys would nod and ask, "Do you like it?" Instead, you lean in and say, "If you had to choose between quitting tomorrow or doing it for the next 40 years, which one would you pick?" Boom. Her brain can't stay on autopilot. She has to think. And in that moment, she feels alive in the conversation. Here's another way to see it. Small talk is like driving on cruise control down an empty highway. It's smooth, it's easy, but you could fall asleep at the wheel. A disruptive question is like suddenly hitting a curve on a mountain road. Your senses wake up, your hands grip tighter, your focus sharpens. That little rush of tension makes the drive memorable. That's exactly how a woman's brain reacts to an unexpected question. She feels a spark of tension, a shift in energy, and she anchors that shift to you. You're no longer the guy asking about her resume, you're the guy who made her feel something different. And here's the best part: you don't need to be outrageous or offensive to disrupt. You just need to step off the script. Instead of asking what everyone else asks, tilt the frame. Throw her a curveball that makes her laugh, reflect, or even challenge you. That disruption is the seed of attraction. So remember this: if comfort kills excitement, then disruption creates it. The man who can shift a woman out of autopilot and into the moment is the man she remembers. Because at the end of the day, she won't replay your exact words. She'll replay how it felt when you broke her pattern and how alive she felt sitting across from you. Most men treat questions like data collectors. They think if they just gather enough information, her favorite food, her hobbies, her job, they'll somehow build attraction. But here's the truth: facts don't create feelings. And without feelings, there's no spark, no connection, no addiction. The real power of a question isn't in the answer, it's in the emotion it stirs up. A woman doesn't replay the facts she gave you. She replays the way she felt giving them. That's why the right question can linger in her mind for hours, even days, after the conversation is over. So what does an addictive question look like? It's one that pulls her out of the surface layer and drops her into her inner world. It doesn't ask her for a resume. It invites her to reveal a part of herself she usually keeps hidden. For example, instead of asking, "Do you like your job?" try this: "Do you ever feel like what you do pays the bills but doesn't feed the parts of you that matter most?" That hits differently. She can't answer that on autopilot. She has to pause, reflect, maybe even share something personal. Or instead of, "What are your hobbies?" you could say, "What's something you loved doing as a kid that you stopped, but secretly miss?" That question doesn't just ask for an activity, it opens a door to nostalgia, to emotion, to a memory that still shapes who she is today. See the difference? One version collects information. The other creates a moment. And moments are what women remember. Now let's talk about something most men get wrong: validation versus recognition. Validation is when you tell a woman she looks good, or you compliment her on something obvious. "You're beautiful. You're smart." Sure, it feels nice in the moment, but it's shallow. Every guy says it. It doesn't last. Recognition, on the other hand, goes deeper. It's when you notice something she hasn't put into words, or when you reflect back a truth about her she didn't expect you to see. For example, you seem like someone who's calm on the outside but probably overthinks everything when you're alone. That's not validation. That's recognition. And when she feels recognized, she feels seen in a way most people never give her. That's the key difference. Validation makes her smile. Recognition makes her addicted. Here's why: people crave recognition more than attention. Anyone can give her attention. Few people can make her feel truly seen. And when you're the man who does that, she ties that rare feeling to you. She'll think about it long after you've gone, wondering how you noticed, why you understood, and what else you might see in her. So remember this: addictive questions don't ask for information, they trigger emotion. They make her stop, think, and feel something she wasn't expecting. And once you learn to do that consistently, you'll stop being just another guy she met. You'll become the experience she can't shake. Now that you understand why ordinary questions kill attraction and why emotional ones create addiction, it's time to go deeper. There are 3 advanced techniques, 3 secret ways of framing your questions, that can instantly separate you from every other guy she meets. If you master these, you won't sound like the guy running an interview, you'll sound like the man who pulls her into an entirely different world. The first technique is about implied premises. Most men ask questions as if they're begging for permission, hoping she'll define herself for them. They say things like, "Are you more introverted or extroverted?" and it makes them sound like reporters with a checklist. That kind of energy is weak, and it signals that you're seeking approval. Instead, flip the frame. Don't ask, assume. When you say, "You seem like the type of person who loves being around people, but only in small doses," too much social energy probably drains you, even though no one notices. You've done something powerful. You've defined her before she had the chance to do it herself. And the moment you do that, she feels recognized. People crave recognition far more than they crave validation. Validation makes her feel good for a second. Recognition makes her feel seen, and when she feels seen, she leans in either to confirm you or to correct you. Either way, she's now invested emotionally, and that investment is the seed of attraction. The second technique is about creating micro-loops. The human brain hates open endings. It wants to close the loop, finish the story, complete the thought. You can use this psychology to hook her without her realizing why. Instead of always asking complete, safe questions, you drop half an observation and then go silent. For example, you might say, "There's something about you that feels like you're holding back the fun part," and then you stop. That silence becomes magnetic. She suddenly feels the urge to fill it. She'll laugh, defend herself, or reveal more than she planned. Either way, she's now chasing the conversation instead of you doing all the work. You can do the same thing with a line like, "You look calm, but I get the feeling you're way more competitive than you let on," and then pause. Her brain itches to respond. And here's the real trick: people don't invest because they already like you, they start to like you because they've invested. A micro loop gets her to invest in you without her even noticing it. The third technique is what I call the shared movie effect. Instead of locking the conversation in cold facts, you create a scene, a little world that you and she step into together. Why does it work? Because the brain doesn't separate imagined experiences from real ones. If she imagines something with you, her mind codes it like it actually happened. Picture saying to her, "If this were a movie and you disappeared halfway through, what twist would the audience discover about your secret life?" That's not just a question. That's a portal. Suddenly she's no longer explaining herself. She's playing, imagining, co-creating a story with you as her co-star. And when she feels like you've already shared a story, she bonds with you emotionally, even if the story was just imagined. These three techniques, implied premises, microloops, and the shared movie effect, are conversational weapons. Use them, and you'll never sound like every other guy again. You'll disrupt her patterns, excite her emotions, and make her feel seen in a way she doesn't get anywhere else. And once a woman ties that rare feeling to you, trust me, she won't forget you. By now, you've seen how the right question can spark attraction, how breaking patterns keeps her attention, and how advanced techniques make you stand out. But here's the truth you need to hold on to: none of this is really about the words. It's about the feelings those words create. Most guys think they need to impress a woman, show off their job, their car, their looks, or even memorize clever lines. But think back to every moment in your own life that stuck with you. Was it because of the exact words someone said? Or was it because of how you felt in that moment? That's the final secret. She won't remember your words. She'll remember the sensation that came with them. When you ask the right kind of questions, questions that disrupt her autopilot, questions that open doors inside her, questions that make her laugh, pause, or reflect, you stop being just another guy in her timeline. You become an experience. Imagine this: 2 weeks later, she's lying in bed, scrolling her phone. Out of nowhere, she remembers how she felt when you asked, "What's something you used to love as a kid that you secretly miss?" The question itself fades. But the feeling of nostalgia, of being seen, of connecting to a hidden part of herself, that stays. And because you were the one who sparked it, she ties that feeling to you. This is what makes you unforgettable. Not being the loudest guy in the room. Not flexing your resume. Not even saying the smartest thing. It's giving her an emotional shift she can't get anywhere else. Here's something most men never realize: logic makes sense, but emotion makes memories. Logic explains the world. Emotion shapes the story we tell ourselves about it. If you give her facts, she might nod politely. But if you give her feelings, she'll replay them at 2 a.m. when the room is quiet and her mind drifts back to the moments that mattered. So stop worrying about being impressive. Start focusing on being memorable. And being memorable means creating an emotional footprint she can't erase. How do you do that? You make her feel more herself when she's with you than she does with anyone else. That's the real magic. Attraction isn't about building a mask that dazzles her. It's about opening a door that lets her step into her truest self and tying that experience to your presence. And here's where I want to leave you. This video gave you the rules, the mindset, and the secret techniques. But in the next one, I'm going to take you even further. I'll break down specific word-for-word examples, phrases you can actually use, that trigger attraction on the spot. Think of it as your playbook for real conversations, not theory. So stay tuned. Because once you understand not just how to start attraction, but how to sustain it, you won't just be memorable, you'll be unforgettable.